Hey. Okay. Hi, everyone. I need to just attach this to myself. And I'm going to take my scarf off. Excuse me while I get ready. Okay, so I just had to run and get some water and something to drink. Make sure my alarm is turned off. I feel not 100% ready, but I am. I did a lot of research for tonight's topic. So if you're on, please introduce yourselves and let me know that you can hear me okay. We're in no rush tonight. Hi, Dawn. Hi from Florida. Welcome. Hey, I know you. Hi from San Miguel. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dawn. I appreciate that. So I hope you guys came ready for lots of art and culture information, art and music information. I just thought it would be fun, kind of light night. I was trying to have a guest speaker come on to talk about the International Jazz Festival, which is coming up in November of this year. But he actually has an event tonight. So that was that. So I said, maybe we'll have him come on and talk about this event that I know several of us, I think, from our community has already worked with him, but also plans to possibly be a part of the Jazz Festival in November. So for those of you who haven't heard, there is one every year. It's international, and there's a whole bunch of other international type things and just festivals and a lot of art and music type things happening in San Miguel. So I wanted to just share that with you because I think that's a huge part of why people love this town. It's very diverse, even though it's not large, it's kind of intimate in the sense of community, and you can meet people and still kind of have your space. And that I think all depends on the circles you roll in and how much you go out and what you do. And even maybe even your vicinity of where you live. I live out here. I call this probably the outer ring, the most outer ring of Central. And they are building a lot out here as well. Like they're building a Westin with residences somewhere, like literally not far from where I live, but I live out here. So, because a lot of people don't have cars in SMA, I get to hang out mostly by myself unless I go into town. And I'm okay with that because I'm a little introverted, believe it or not. Okay, so tonight, let's show you what I'm having to drink. It's a very light drink. I've been not drinking wine so much. I've cut out a lot of coffee and things like that. So tonight I made a little tiny bit of vodka with cucumbers and some lime at the bottom and regular water. And that's it. So hopefully I'll get to drink it. It doesn't have much in it. I have just been pretty much preserving wine, which I love white wine, for when I go out. And I happen to have a little tiny bit of vodka, and I was like, okay, let's stay with the theme. So before we get really deep in, continue introducing yourself. I'm Michelle. I live in San Miguel de Allende. This is my channel, Expat Life Mexico. CasaELM is my guest house. We provide a soft landing experience for anyone who's interested in either moving to San Miguel de Allende or anyone who wants to travel here. We pretty much act as like that go-between, helping everyone who has questions or maybe never even left the United States or Canada or their country, or maybe they're not comfortable with traveling on their own, and they want to kind of go somewhere where they can feel connected to the community already. And that's sort of the gateway that we provide. We have had very successful relocation tours since last year, and you can go to CasaELM.com to see what we have available. Tonight, I wanted to spend time to talk about art and music and pretty much all the fun, cultural, creative things that happens in San Miguel, just so people have a general idea of just how much goes on here. So if you have questions, even if it's unrelated to this topic, feel free to drop a question. Hi, Goliath. I hope I said that right. Welcome. You live in Querétaro, awesome. So yes, and we also, for those who don't know, I think everyone knows that's on, I don't know who's on, but at least in the chat, Querétaro is only about an hour away, so welcome. And as I said, you can jump in and ask questions that are off topic if you'd like. And, you know, that's what we're here for. So, yeah, so tonight, like I said, is really about all the fun things there are to do, and also to share with you some of the things that I am also have happening at CasaELM this year. And, you know, just in case someone's just kind of like, you know, I just want to visit San Miguel, I'm not looking to move there. I just want to show that we are diverse and we offer a lot of fun, cool excursions in SMA. So I'll kind of talk about some of those, but then also just share with you stuff that's happening in SMA in general. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop in. And if you just want to like chat in the chat, go for it. I can kind of see it off to the side, and we'll get started. So I wanted to say, first of all, you know, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. If you come here, please bring joy, please bring positivity, because that's pretty much what I'm trying to bring. I just want to say this, like, if Mexico is not your place and not your thing, you know, that's okay. I totally understand that. I decided to start, and I'm sort of going off topic a little bit, but I just want to say this because, you know, I've had some like little things kind of pop up, and I just want to say that if you're not interested in coming to Mexico for whatever your reasons are, that's fine, right? But it doesn't make sense to watch my channel and then complain about why you're never coming to Mexico, okay? I just want to put that out there because I just kind of find it hilarious that you would watch one of my videos and then say, oh, because of what happened, I'm never coming to Mexico. Then, okay, then don't watch the videos and don't make comments. And, you know, there's lots of other things on YouTube that you can look at. So I just wanted to say that, you know, because what I'm doing, I do it because I love living here. It is my perspective overall. I'm not twisting anyone's arm to come here. And I pretty much do this freely and happily. I share, you know, I've been able to become more knowledgeable. I've been able to work with a lot of people in the community to help them grow their businesses and the things that they're doing. And it brings me a lot of joy, and it's a lot of work. So if it's not for you, that's okay. Then, you know, don't click on this channel. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's a PSA announcement. So if you have any questions about CasaELM, please go there, CasaELM.com, and you can see more about what our purpose is here. And I just want to say a warm welcome to everyone that is new to SMA. We had an amazing brunch on Sunday. This past Sunday, we do a Sunday brunch, the last Sunday of the month. And that's when we get to meet newcomers. We get to hang out with me, the OGs. And, you know, it's just nice. The community is growing and it's really healthy and it's amazing. So I'm really blessed. Giovanna, welcome. And Nima, welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, we love Mexico, friends of Mexico. So, you know, the point of kind of being here is once again to share with you, from my perspective, the quality of life that I experience. Things can be challenging sometimes. The language is challenging, not always understanding things, but I always say, I think for me, the key thing about Mexico is simply that the people are so amazing. I mean, really, really not portrayed well and healthily in the United States, right? It's just really a sad story for me because, I feel that I'm most supported here and I have been most supported here. And, one of the things I wanted to quickly share as a story, and then we'll get into the topic, and welcome controlled chaos. I love that name. Uh, one of the things I wanted to say is a couple weeks ago, I wasn't on, and I kind of said it at the end of my live last week. I wasn't on because I had to suddenly go and visit my dad because he was sick, right? Literally from Saturday evening to I need to get going in 2 days. And in those 2 days, I was able to pull my resources in what I call my village here, go to my village and be like, okay, I have to go, but I need, but. And everyone that was in that village was so helpful to me. They really put me at ease and at rest. And from someone staying here at my house, just the trustworthiness of that exchange. And these are people that I work with, local people that I work with, just being like, here's the key to my house, and so I'm grateful for that. I didn't come to Mexico expecting or thinking I was going to necessarily get it to that warmth and that big heart kind of thing. So, when there's like diversity or extra negativity about this place that I live in, I feel like I want to protect that a little bit and really make that clear that I love living here, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I can call so many individuals and they will jump and help me go take care of your thing, do what you have to do. So just want to say that, another PSA announcement. Okay, so thank you so much, Control Chaos. Muchas gracias. Okay, so let's get started. I have notes, so don't mind looking down. So why do people love San Miguel, right? SMA. I think one of the biggest reasons is it is an extremely artistic and creative city full of so many events and venues. You'll find endless things to do, and if you don't have time, you'll want to come back and do them. Excuse me. And I have a cup of water. So I wanted to first start with art and just why the attraction is to San Miguel, because it is an extremely artistic city. And I've said this before, but tonight we're going to focus on it. Oh, hi, Cheryl. Oh, awesome. Yes, I'm looking forward to your visit. So yes, please be sure to join the brunch. So one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was there's a place that you can go to all the time, right? The other things are kind of events. And then this particular place is something that you can go to. I think they're open 7 days a week. It's called the Fabrica Aurora, and it was formerly a textile factory. And every second Saturday of the month, they have the San Miguel Art Walk. And I think it's in the evenings. I went once and it's been a while, and then COVID hit and I haven't been back since. However, it was so much fun. I've been there a lot during the day. So anyone who asks me about going to art galleries, I like going there because there are tons of art galleries. There are restaurants, there are furniture stores, and just like things that you can just go shopping if that's your thing. If you like art, you can buy handmade crafts, you can buy sculptures. They have a shop, I forget the name of it, it has like a lot of Asian goods. And then if you just want to hang out and have lunch, but when they have the art walk, it really comes alive. I think it starts around 5 in the evening, second Saturday of the month. And you go into each of the galleries or shops that are open, and there's something going on. There's either a DJ or let me think, what else? Excuse me, a DJ. Sometimes they have food. People are just hanging out, and there's like so many cool vibes, and you can just literally, it's almost like a gallery crawl. But you're in like one ginormous textile factory. And then inside they have a lot of the old equipment that they used to use for this textile factory. And I'll actually put it in the chat in case you're interested in how to spell it. Fabrica Aurora. I think that's right. 1 second. Okay, so that is one of my favorite places, and it's open year round, and it's something to really check out. I really think if you're into art, that's like a great start. As far as like San Miguel, there are lots of art galleries and places throughout town. On the weekends, there's usually something very artistic going on, whether it's an opening. There's also a toy museum. And believe it or not, the toy museum is, in my opinion, it's for everyone. It's for adults too. They have a lot of kind of toys that are traditional Mexican, or old toys that, you know, maybe we saw back in the 70s. And I say we, because I was a kid then. And handmade wooden, you know, toys like Pinocchio, but things in that time frame where they weren't electronic, they were not necessarily made of metal, but things like that. And it's really an interesting spot. You can look it up, it's the Toy Museo. I know it has another name at the beginning, but that's what I know it as. And it's right in Central, easy to get to. So that's also something to check out. That was not on my list, it just came to mind. Okay. And then we also have the Guanajuato International Film Festival. Now, from what I understand, a lot of the films and a lot of the things that are put on are for free. And I'm going to also talk about even the jazz, which I'll talk about later. There are a lot of like venues you can go to and there's no charge. I know that Herbie Hancock performed here a few months ago outside in front of the parroquia. And that's our church. That's like the symbol of San Miguel. And it was right in front of the Jardín and the church. And there was no charge. You could just show up, and it was amazing. So a lot of these types of things happen here. I remember a couple years ago at New Year's countdown going into, and this is every year, but I don't remember the name of this band, but it was, I think it's a Mexican kind of like pop band. And I know their songs. I'm not going to sing them because I don't know the words. I'm just sort of mumbling along, but that was also free. And it was amazing. I mean, it was packed, and you just show up. You just show up. You just get there early, get a little spot if you can, close to the front, and you just stay there. And then there's fireworks and stuff going off, which is a little scary, because like the, you know, tenders or whatever they're called, tenders are coming down out of the sky, and I'm like, okay, I want to be, I don't want to have a Michael Jackson moment. Anyway. With the festival, though, basically that's happening. Let's see, International Jacksonville is going to be happening July 20th through the 31st of this year. So it showcases a very wide range of national and international films. As I said, it doesn't cost anything. In addition to that, they have a lot of workshops that you can take, exhibits, classes. I mean, it's sort of one of those things where it's just happening. I don't know if you all have been to, what is it that happens in December? Gosh, it just slipped my mind. But, Art Basel in Miami. It's kind of the same idea where there's a lot of pop-up things, and, you know, you just need to know where to find the information. And I think one of the best places to look for information is going to be at, let's see here. Let me find this for you, the website, because I was just on it. I think it's called SMA. turístico. Yeah. Anyway, let me see if I can find it so I can drop you in. This is a great place to start to find details about things that there's to do here. Okay, this is a good one. Visit sanmiguel.travel. Okay, check that one out. I'm going to go here and drop the link for you. And if I find the other one, I'll drop it. So it's a great place to find information and things that there are to do here at SMA. There's an overload. So if you're here for just 1 week, I really highly suggest kind of pre-thinking it. I feel like, I like planning, but not so much where, it feels so stringent, but I do like to kind of do a little bit of research before I go to a place. And I feel that San Miguel is one of those places where if you're into adventure, outdoors, music, culture, if you're only here for like a week at a time or a few days, there's just so much. You should probably say, well, these are the things I like. Let me do a little bit of research. So that's why I wanted to share, these events with you and that that they exist. So yes, with the film festival that happens, that one's coming up in July 20th, as I said earlier, to the 31st. And it has, there's also information you can just do it's the Guanajuato International Film Festival. And I'm going to also type that in the chat for you so you know how to spell it. Guanajuato might be a little bit National Film Fest. And I think some of the websites that I'm giving you may be in Spanish. I believe a lot of them are in English, but if you go to Google Chrome and you put in the URL, Google Chrome will automatically translate it for you to English. So there you go. And it's pretty good, actually. Okay, so two of probably my favorite things that happens every year. So there's this, they call it Desfile, I think, de los Locos. And basically that means Parade of the Locals. I just call it, parade, the Locals Parade. Locals means crazy, Parade of the Crazies, that's what they call it. And so I'll just say the first year that I came to San Miguel, I did not know about this. I don't know if someone told me about it, because I think I had only been here for, I want to say, how many days? Maybe 10. And I feel like a neighbor told me about it. I don't think I happened upon it. But can I tell you, we had so much fun. And actually last year when I had my June relocation tour, we spent a day doing Day of the Crazies, Parade of the Crazies. So the history behind it is, I'm going to get that because I had it and it's not here in my face. Hold on one second. All right. So basically, I'll tell you first a description of what that looks like, right? So it's almost like Halloween in June, or just like a parade. It's like, everyone just dresses up, right? So they'll have like a band of people. And I don't mean like a music band, like a band of folks like you would see in a parade, and they're dressed like, all the same, or there's a theme. These costumes are interesting. I remember one year they had like all these people with like these fake gliding, like a skydiving kind of, hand gliding thing. It was cool because it had like all these colors, but there were like 20 of them. And then there were like 20 people dressed in black and white stripes, like they're in prison. And then there'll be like a host of characters. I remember one time they even had like kind of like all the important people in the world at that point, like a thing of Obama, Trump, whatever, and they were all like, you know, it was all kind of like government kind of officials from all countries, even here, AMLO, the president of Mexico, and things like that. And they were all together, and they're just dancing. So there's music, and just like a regular parade, you know, the truck with the big speaker may be decorated, and then a bunch of people. But the fun part of this is they throw candy. So the kids are in heaven, right? So someone told me, bring an umbrella. I said, what am I supposed to do with the umbrella? You know, I thought I was supposed to like kind of block myself from the sun. They're like, no, turn the umbrella upside down and catch the candy. When I tell you, it was like Halloween, so much fun. Okay, so that is really probably the parade that I will go through the hassle of leaving my house for, because it's just fun. It's fun for Micah. I like it because it's just creative and very entertaining. And just very, to me, it's kind of unusual. I'm gonna get the description for you in a second because I had it earlier. So I think it's just coming from people being creative. I think that was more the idea behind it, was being creative, being free, you know, just getting out there, expressing yourself however you want and dressing however you want. And I mean, they definitely do that. And it goes through the whole town, all the way to the center. I usually stay on the outskirts, more or less. And I think it's important to know, like, you can't drive through the city, taxis are going to be whatever. So it's good to plan. I think they start around, what am I saying? I think they start around 12 o'clock-ish. And from my understanding, they had this parade or something similar a few weeks ago. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh my God, I missed it. But I didn't. According to the calendar, that's happening on June the 18th. Not sure what the other thing was, but I'm really looking forward to doing that with Micah. That's like my thing. The second favorite is Day of the Dead, right? Which is also La Calica Festival. And that happens normally in late October. Day of the Dead is usually celebrated here on November the 1st and November the 2nd. And there are a series of parades, but there are also a lot of things happening in town that you can attend. You can go to a restaurant, they'll have like their own thing. Sometimes they'll have a party, you know, if you want to get dressed up. And it's kind of confusing sometimes because Halloween is on the 31st, but it's not really the same thing, but people are dressed up. For Day of the Dead, typically you're getting dressed up with like a Katrina, if you're female, Katrina face. I don't know what the men are. I'm not sure. If someone watching and knows, feel free to drop that info. But last year we did Day of the Dead at CasaELM, and we had a lot of fun. We had food, and then we created an altar for our loved ones that have passed on, because that is really the theme and the idea behind this holiday, is celebrating your loved ones that have passed on. So we created an area for that. And then we had traditional Mexican food and, of course, you know, drinks. And we had makeup artists come in and paint our faces. I think we were 13 women, more or less. And then my son, he always gets to hang out with us. And it was just a lot of fun. And we had a photographer come later on and take all our photos. And there's also info about that on CasaELM.com if you're interested in what we're doing this year. And I think the dates are, let's see, I think I wrote that down. Let's see. October 28th through November 3rd. We have like a whole week, but if you already live in San Miguel, we also are offering like a day pass kind of thing. But what I wanted to say is, if you don't celebrate with us at CasaELM, that's fine. But if you are here or any other part of Mexico, to me, that's like something to be seen. It's, you know, it's kind of a fine line, because you don't want to be intrusive, And by going to the cemeteries and trying to crash people's time with their loved ones, that's not recommended. Okay. I've heard people say that this has happened, and I'm just like mortified. But if there are local, festivities and things like that, I think it's definitely something to check out. It's quite amazing. I mean, it has turned into something of a commercial celebration, but the meaning behind it is still the same, right? And I think it's worth participating in this if it's of interest to you. I know some people are depending on their background, they're a little bit like I don't really delve into that. I respect that, but those who are interested in learning more about what this means in this culture, I think it's worth it, and it's a good time. It's just fun. The city is the most colorful at that time. Not even Christmas tops Day of the Dead week. It is just beautiful. And this is around Mexico. Okay, so there are plenty of places you can do this. It doesn't have to be San Miguel. I know Oaxaca is very well known as well as a place to celebrate this particular holiday. And also someone told me recently, I want to say Pascua or Morelia, that those places are also an amazing place to celebrate. So maybe I'll get there, but I love San Miguel at that time of the year. I love this area. Things become very colorful. They use mums, which, is a fall, for us, it's a fall plant. And I say us as in, I grew up in New England and you would see them everywhere. This is also very popular here. The colors are like that rich yellow and deep purples and things like that. And people just go all out. They decorate their doors and it's just beautiful. So that's also one of my favorite holidays to celebrate as well. Now, last year, I got to go to a vendimia, and I just happened to have a friend who was selling her tickets because she couldn't make it. So the vendimia is basically the grape harvest. For those who don't know, there are lots of vineyards. I've talked about them here. And thank you, Pascua in Morelia. Thank you so much, Giovanna. So basically, I didn't know what to expect. All I knew was I got some tickets and they were a very good price considering what the original price was. And, the menu looked amazing. And I said, okay, I'm going to just show up to this. And I had also so much fun. And basically from what I understand, each vineyard kind of does their own thing each year. The one I went to, it was just like a fancy, but still down to earth dinner. But the way they decorated like the whole restaurant area is like a giant tent, but that's a part of the restaurant. So this one that I went to happened at Dos Bujos. And that's right next to where I live. I did not know it was there until like last year. I think I went first for wine tasting, and then the second time I went there was for this vendimia. And also I've been there since for other events. They do like a lot of fundraising kind of events. I hope you guys can't hear the dog barking in the background, because if you can, I'll close my window. Anywho, moving on. So the vendimia, it's basically a celebration of winemaking. So now you're speaking my language, right? I absolutely love going to vineyards. I hope one day I can have a little mini vineyard, even if it's just labeled Michelle's bottles. I love white wine, and I like learning a lot about the process. Every time I do a tour with one of our relocation groups, I always ask a million questions about their process, and every vineyard has a tour, and they're all very different. The way they're given, the information that you learn. I would say the place that I learned the most was at La Vista, which I think I spoke about them on my very first live or the second live that I did starting a few months ago. I love that place. It's San Jose. Okay, I'm gonna try to get, I always say San Jose, San Lucas. San Jose, La Vista. It's a hacienda. So it's not really open to the public, meaning it is, but you have to have an appointment or reservation versus like Tres Raíces, which was my favorite. And I still really, really love, I'd probably say they're my second favorite. I have three that I really love. And I've been to, I don't know, quite a few. I love San Jose, Hacienda, La Vista, Hacienda San Jose La Vista. I think that's how you say it. I love it there. Hi, Jetta. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you're drinking wine or something fancy, even if it's fancy water. Anyway, I love that place because the view. I went there when the grapes were in season and it was just so magnificent. Okay. It was just so beautiful. We went there a few months ago when Stephanie Perry and Rashida were here. This was back in January, and they loved it. Their tour, the first person that the first guy that did their tour, he was just so thorough. I don't know if he was just giving us the extra treatment or if this is just his thing. He was so knowledgeable about making wine and how to do it. And their whole setup is so professional. Their cellar is just beautiful and amazing. It's just amazing, just amazing. Welcome, Katrina, and good evening. Feel free to share where you are reaching out from, okay? Okay, I hear my dog. This is not my dog, someone else's dog. We'll see if that gets out of control. So with each of the vineyards, they do a different thing, but this particular guy I'm talking about, he was just so thorough. And, we had such an amazing time. We went there with our August relocation group and a few other ladies that joined us. And it was just so good. I mean, I learned so much. Now, every place that I've been to, they all do a tour. They do something, a wine tasting. They do something a little bit different. But what I wanted to really stress about it is each of those vineyards do a vendimia. And the vendimia is basically just a celebration of the harvest. And welcome from Houston. Thanks for sharing, Katrina. And it's just really interesting. So this one in particular was, we got there, they had like, so with the ticket was kind of an all-inclusive, right? So you could drink whatever it was that was on tap, that they were, not tap, it wasn't there, but they had like a special drink mix, like a sangria of some sort. And they then also had white and red wine from their vineyard. And it was just a really spectacular event. The whole thing was set up kind of like a little rustic. There were flowers like hanging down, from the ceiling. They had this amazing band. They played a lot of Cuban music and a lot of vocal music, and it was just singing, dancing, very fancy. Everyone was so fancy. I would say there were like 150 or 200 people there. And I just really enjoyed myself. So that's also on my favorite list of things to do. And, we are also, so the point of talking about these things is art and music, but also to tell you that, we have these offers as well at CasaELM. So, if that's something that's interesting to you, please go to CasaELM and check out our wine and food experience. That's happening. Of course, I don't have it written down. It's happening in August. Brianna, who manages a lot of things for me, she actually went to the vendimia at the place that I really, really like at La Vista. And she showed me a picture. She was doing it the traditional way, where the ladies were in their white and they were in there stomping the grapes. Like, for real, we've seen this in the movies and it's always focused on Italy. Well, they do that here too, okay? So I just wanted to say that because I was pretty impressed and I'm like, okay, this year I need to know about that and I need to get there. Welcome, Patty. Welcome from, okay, nice, drink that. Good. White wine? Okay, while you listen, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little sip of my, today I have vodka. I think I mentioned it earlier for those who missed it. A little tip of vodka, cucumbers and lime because I'm trying to cut back on how much wine I'm drinking at home because white wine is my thing. And I've been trying to cut out a little bit of sugar and things like that. So this has less and less. I'm not really so worried about calories. I'm just trying to cut out sugar. And this is kind of coming from my dad being ill and, kind of seeing things at age 80 and wanting to just kind of, get back on my bandwagon because I've always been very health conscious in general, not to the point of calorie counting and exercising and diets and stuff, but just being conscious about what I eat. So that's why I have this drink tonight, okay? And maybe it'll be better if I just didn't drink it at all, right? So, yeah, so with the vendimia, as I said, each vineyard has their own way of celebrating the harvest. And, if you go to the vineyards during the season where they're about to harvest the grapes, that is to me the best time. Like the other time of the year, the grapes aren't ready or the vine is brown. But when it's in season, like July, August, September, más o menos, more or less, it's amazing. It's green. You can pick grapes. And I know I've said this before because I remember how they taste. They were so good. They're like the ones with the thick skin on them, mostly, at least the ones that I tried. And at some of the vineyards, they will that's like an appetizer. They'll just put a bunch of, freshly cleaned grapes picked from the vine probably that day on a plate, and then you nibble on that. And it's just delicious. And when you do the tours, they let you taste them and they explain, the process and what they do with the skin and how long the grapes are in the vats. And I just love it. I'm like, can I go and swim around in there a little bit? So I think that that's so worth checking out. So this year we decided to put that as an experience together because it was just, for me, it was just a lot of fun. And the food was so good. I mean, they had like a menu with, I think it was a 7-course meal that included dessert. Plus, like I said, the drinks just kind of kept coming. I think they had like a sparkling wine, white wine, and a red wine. And then I believe they had a sangria mix. And even before we went in to be seated, they had like these, and it was very rustic. Like if you look up Dos Bujos, D-O-S, Bujos, B-U-H-O-S, means 2 owls, and look up their vineyard. It's very rustic and it has like a lot of antique-y things. And it's a much smaller vineyard, I should say, compared to some of the other ones, but it's just very rustic. It's almost kind of like, someone really put their very personal touch on it. And they're all different. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I just wanted to say, like, I can appreciate them all for how different they are. Like Tres Raíces is an architectural wonder. I love that place. It's beautiful, right? Tres Raíces, Tres, Raíces, R-A-I-C-E-S. That place is beautiful, okay? Architecturally, everything, it's just fancy. I haven't been to their vendimia, but I literally have stayed out there. They have little casitas that are fancy in the vineyard. So you can sleep in the vineyard if you want, right? In a casita. And I say casita, they're fancy. It's like a little house built in the middle of the vineyard. I think they have 4 or 6 of them. And then there's a pool and there's a chapel. And then there's the restaurant and the cellar. And yeah, the point is they're all very different, but they're all very special. And they all have like their little thing that makes them unique. And so are their tours. You would think all the wine tours are kind of, maybe have like the same thing. Of course, you're tasting the wine, but the way that person, the sommelier, does the presentation is different. They're trying different things in your mouth. how to, sip it and whatever, and getting the different notes and all that. So I really think if that's your thing and that's what you're into, you should come down during the harvest, which again, like I said, is in August. Pretty much the end. It depends on how much rain they get and things like that, but it's pretty much the month of August going into September. So I think it's worth it. And as I said, we have an offer at CasaELM for a food, wine, and wine experience. If you go to CasaELM.com, you can see, you can find when that's happening and what it includes and things like that. It's also including a foodie experience as well. So each vineyard typically has a restaurant, and there's some other like food related experiences. I think there's a food tour and some other things. So yeah, it is fun. Welcome April in Paradise. And let's see, I don't know if you, what is that? So yes, Dixie. So yeah, it's just, there's so many cool things to do here. I think that it's kind of like, worth taking a trip to put a little thing together for yourself. Like if you say, I really like vineyards, but I also really like adventure, you can do that as well. There's just a lot happening. So I wanted to get into also the like music festival that we're going to have here, the International Jazz Festival. So before I do that, there are some really amazing singers in our community. The one that performs every single Tuesday is Sybil. I asked her to come on, but she was taken off today because I wanted her to talk about her performances that she does. It's at a place in town called Chen Annie's. I believe it's every Tuesday night. I want to say starting like 6. Yeah, I think it's 6 to 8. And Chen Annie's is just a local restaurant. I think it's Italian. And she's just fun. Okay, not only can she sing, but she's just a lot of fun. She's a very entertaining, fun performer. I got to see her, I think, twice so far. A lot of people go, they dance. She sings a lot of like Motown kind of music. So if that's your thing, please go out and support. I like to try to support as much as I can local talent and or people doing things locally, whether they're artists. Speaking of artists, I wanted to say this too. So about 2 weeks ago, I did a sip and paint with Mona Lisa, and she's also a local person that moved here not too long ago, about a year ago, actually. She was on my live when we were talking to parents, and she does a sip and paint normally at some local venue or restaurant that you can buy drinks. And so this helps support the restaurant and then also helps support her endeavors. And we had so much fun. We painted Frida, and everyone was extremely expressive with their painting. Mine, you can't see it, but it's that little corner turquoisey thing up there. I was really happy with it. And it was funny because when I got there and I started painting, I was just like, oh, this is so therapeutic. I really enjoyed it. I like painting, but I typically like painting walls and bigger things. I'm not a painter per se. And this is kind of a little guided, meaning you get kind of a sketched out template, and then you paint according to the little final print that she gives you. But everyone did something completely different, even though when you held them together, clearly it was the same image. But it was just very interesting to see. We were about 20 people, and it was so much fun and so therapeutic, and we had so much fun. And they had a DJ, or someone was playing music mostly, and we were all dancing around and whatever. So it was really cool. Let's see. Welcome, Deborah. Let's see. Welcome from Albuquerque, visiting with my daughter. Awesome. I like Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's see, Katrina, do you know if there are any fiber art classes, i.e. weaving, fabric dyeing? Oh, that's a great question. I'm sure there are, I just don't know specifics. Let me think about where you should look for that info. Let me see. While we do this, I'm gonna look it up for you. San Miguel. That's a great question. I don't think anyone has asked that. Let's see what it says. What about art painting? Oh yeah, for sure. Art and painting classes. Do you know if they're in fiber? Let's see if anything comes up. Okay. Let's see, mixed media classes, alcohol. Okay, so I found something. I don't know where it is. I'll put the phone number in the chat, and this is going to be a Mexican number. So I'll put like the whole number, which you would dial. But it looks like back in March, April, and May, they were offering a class on booking 3D art, alcohol, ink, and mixed media art classes. So that might be a good place to start. Okay. I will actually put, let's see. 011-521-415. Let's see. 566. So, okay, so I'll also say the best way to reach people will be on WhatsApp. If you don't have it, download that app. Okay. Best way to contact people is through WhatsApp. Okay. All righty. So, and the email is Johnny Boswell 1. Okay. BOH1@gmail. Right? Yeah. Make sure I spelled that right. Okay, there you go. So basically, yes, there are tons of people doing a lot of different things here in that regard. Art classes galore. I think one of the better places to look for art classes will be like in the Atención or any online Facebook pages that that are related to San Miguel. If you just do like, if you're in Facebook, if you're not in Facebook, you really should join if you are trying to travel to Mexico, okay? Because for whatever reason, the information you can get off of Facebook, you can't get on Google, right? Because when I first moved here, I would Google, because that's what I was used to in the US is Google it. And here, I feel like a lot of the information, one, changes very quickly. Someone's in business today, maybe out of business tomorrow, or someone used to offer this, but they don't offer that. The best taco place is now the one over in the next block. And the way to know like all these like little intricacies and details about San Miguel is what's the latest or what's the most up-to-date thing is on a lot of these Facebook pages. I'm not going to recommend any one in particular because there are so many. So if you happen to be on Facebook, I would say over Instagram. I know some people prefer Instagram, but you're going to find the most information on Facebook, San Miguel, expat kind of related, or even local pages, you know, look for touristy kind of things. Do a Google search and maybe the Facebook pages will come up, but that's where I recommend finding out what's happening during the time frame that you're going to be in town, or if you live here or you plan on moving here, that's going to be a great resource for you to get info. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, I think I finished my points about wine. We can talk some more about wine. Drink some vodka and talk about wine. Yeah, so I wanted to say one more thing about the vineyards. Again, coming during the, and I had one other thought too, coming during the harvest and the season and whatever. As I said, each place celebrates. I had a 7-course meal. I wanted to say the price, the tickets. So San Miguel is definitely on the higher end of the spectrum with cost of things. And I realized that more and more as everything in the world has gone up. San Miguel was, to me, it's still affordable. It's still not outrageous because, you know, our dollar is still stronger than the peso, but things do cost more here. And when I travel around Mexico, I realize, you know, there's definitely a difference. Now, if you're coming to Mexico and, you know, you have the money to spend, fine. But if you don't, there's a lot of options. You just kind of have to look for them. But there are also a lot of these higher ticket price things that feel like something that you would pay for high end in the US, right? So the Vendimia, you get a lot, but the tickets may run you, I think they start around 2,500 pesos, which is nowadays, because today I did some deposits, and let's see, what would that look like? 500, about 145, 150 US dollars to go to one of these events, okay? But it's worth it if you're into wine and vineyards or something really like, it's a long night and it's fun. So I sometimes am like, okay, I'll go to something like this maybe once or twice a year. But I just wanted to say, like, some of them can cost. Last year in December, I was supposed to go to, no, not December, November, I think it was. I was supposed to go to a fundraiser for the local firefighters. And those tickets were around 100 US dollars, and also included dinner. It was at a very fancy place here, one of the most high-end hotels, the Rosewood. I did it a few years ago and I really had a great time. They had like a silent auction, and they had dinner and kind of all you can drink, wine, mostly wine, white or red. It's not like an open bar of everything. But it was just fun. You know, again, for me, it's not something, I mean, there are people here that I know and I'm friends with, you know, and yeah, this is kind of like, you know, a socialite circle and things like that. That's not something I do on a regular basis. I actually do like staying home. I like staying in my house. But I also sometimes every blue moon, I like to experience something like that as well. But this particular new discovery for me, new as of last summer, was the Vendimia. And I just really enjoyed myself. And that's something, if I were going to pick 2 events out of the year, I'd probably pick one of those and maybe a fundraiser or something like that. But this happens often in San Miguel. There are lots of things like this. You can oftentimes either hear about it through a friend of a friend or a friend, or you can find out about it in the Atención. It's like a local bilingual magazine / newspaper. It's a newspaper, and it comes out every week. It costs 20 pesos, which is like a US dollar and change now. And it has a lot of info, and it has like a whole section with calendar events. And, you know, more than likely places like that will, you can find, you know, those types of events. Or, as I said, you know, if you speak to the right people, they'll be like, oh, I'm selling tickets for whatever. Like, I know someone approached me, I think it was in December, about an event in January that I forget the cause, but those tickets were 6,000 pesos, 300 US dollars. Ouch, Edie, ouch. And I was like, I don't know, you know, does someone want to buy me that ticket? You're inviting me to this event. Like, are you buying my ticket? So anyway, needless to say, I did not go to that one in particular, but there are things like that happening here. And then there are a lot of like the fun, cool things that I enjoy doing that are free. Like last weekend, this past weekend, actually, they had the Ballet de Maíz, and I think it's just kind of like a celebration of also a harvest, maybe more like corn. Maíz is corn, and it was just spectacular. It was absolutely, it's a parade. It was just on the side of, stand on the side of the road, and they had, again, bands of people dressed in very like indigenous, I would say each of the bands or groups more or less were representing an indigenous group. And, they had drumming, and, it's very still relatable from like the beats that we're used to, the African drumming and things like that. It's very similar. And it was just interesting because it was, not so much music necessarily, but drumming and then forming lines. And they were just, in formation the whole time, uphill. They were uphill, you guys. When I tell you, I saw two girls in one of the groups that looked, I want to say, I know in stature, typically, they're probably a little shorter and older than they look, but these girls were definitely not over 8 years old. And it just warmed my heart to see. It was just amazing, right? Everyone was dressed in their different outfits, whether they were made, but they were all kind of uniform or thematic in some way. And these girls had they were holding these long poles, and they had a flag on top, and they were in formation. So each group, had like kind of a dance. So it wasn't like they were just drumming and walking up. They were doing like, like a dance, not a dance, but like a line kind of formation of some sort. Music, back around and then turning, drum, 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 and then, doing their thing. Everyone was in like a step of some sort. And I just was so impressed because I thought they just walked from Central. And if you don't know, San Miguel can be very hilly. And that particular street is like this. Practically, when I drive up that street, my car struggles. And they came from the bottom going up and kept doing these like formations. And so it took way longer. And the girls were waving their flag. And I thought, okay, if that was my kid, he would have been complaining a long time ago. And I was just like, okay, I have to look at that and be very like impressed. So I really enjoyed watching that. Wasn't unexpected. I knew the parade was there, but I haven't seen that one in particular. And I happened to be going to a restaurant that I planned brunch around right in the heart of the parade. So it was very difficult for a lot of people to get there because the roads were blocked. So I apologize if any of you are watching that didn't make it to our brunch, because I had several people that did, walked uphill, they were huffing and puffing. And it was, it was a lot of fun at brunch, but it was also a lot of fun to see this. But I didn't know that they were going to be on that route. And we thought that for whatever reason, it would be finished by 12, but it was actually still really going hardcore. So anyway, that's another parade to check out. There are tons, but Atención is a great place to get info, and you can find that newspaper. I'm going to put that also in here. You can find that newspaper in a lot of the local like shops, such as, and I'll put that here, like Luna de Queso, and where else would I see this? Like a Mercado Sano. Okay. No, I don't think they're in City Market. All right, so those are the places you can find that paper, and it comes out, I think, at the end of every week. And it's a great resource. I actually used to look at that quite a bit when I first moved here, when I was visiting and doing my just research on San Miguel. And they had statistics in there about crime and different things like that. I don't know if they still do it. Now that I live here, I find myself less and less, kind of like using these resources, and maybe more going to some more local type things. Like today I had a really amazing meeting with Stephanie who's been in San Miguel for a really long time and used to run Smart Space, which is like a co-working space. She has since retired, but she's still active. And she was telling me she was going to have a meeting with 4 brothers who are certified tour guides for the state of Guanajuato. That's the state that we live in. San Miguel is in the state of Guanajuato, just like, Miami's in the state of Florida. Same concept. I think people don't always make this connection. I made it, but, I had to kind of like get here and think it through a little bit because they have 32 states here in this country. So anyway, what I wanted to say about it, excuse me, was these guys are offering tours to Dolores Hidalgo, which is a neighboring town known for a lot of, mostly, I think, among foreigners, known for its hand-painted pottery and ceramics and things like that. But there's a lot of history here. And the revolution, I believe this is what they were telling us today, was started there. It was started there where a priest, and I don't know the year, apparently, banded all the people, put all the people together, got the people to come together to fight, even let people out of prison, so that they can fight against, I believe, Spain and become independent of Spain. Now, I may not have gotten that exactly accurate, but the point is that, these gentlemen were sharing a lot of the type of tours that they do. And it's not just like San Miguel. I want people to know, if you come here, again, make a plan. San Miguel is amazing, but there are a lot of opportunities to make day trips to the surrounding towns in San Miguel. And welcome, Lunar. Okay, thank you. 1810, thank you. So I think that, people, if you know, if you don't, you don't, and you're just going to kind of do the things here. But there's Pozos de Mineral, there's Cañada de Virgin, and there's Guanajuato City, there's Querétaro City. There are a lot of like quick day trips to Bernal, for example, Pina de Bernal, and plenty more. There's Tequisquiapan, I think that's how you say it. Also an amazing, interesting town. And all of these places you can do in one day. You can hop in a car. If you rent a car, most people don't. But if you did, you can hop in a car. It's easy to find. You don't have to worry about traveling. I just don't recommend traveling at night. And I say that more so because a lot of the highways don't have lights until you get maybe to the exit. So it's really dark, and the way the GPS works here, it works, but you got to be kind of used to it. It can be tricky. I've learned how to like maneuver, but it can be a little overwhelming. And I could really appreciate this when I went to California. I was just like, first of all, smooth roads. Thank you, America, for being so perfect. And it was just kind of like easy to find things. I was never concerned about getting lost with my GPS or Waze in the US. And here it's not as detailed, but you'll get there if you are, pretty decent with directions. I'm pretty good with directions with or without. So the point is it works. You can use it. It is in English, even though, it's interesting. If you're ever coming, just let me know and I'll tell you how I use it, how I function with that. I wanted to also share this because it popped into my head in terms of like something really, I guess this would be more of a cultural experience. No, it's something to do. A few years ago, I did a mushroom tour, right? Not to eat and get all like, woozy by it, but an actual mushroom tour. So we were like a caravan of people, too pent up from being inside. And this was all outdoors. So we followed each other to this place. I can't even tell you where it is. I'm gonna try to find it though. It was another state. It took us, I want to say, about 2 hours to get there by car. So, each family or friend, whomever, we all rode in our individual cars and we followed the tour leaders who had their van. I think they were willing to take people, but we went to like this national park that was pretty much like with a forest and whatever. And it was really beautiful. I want to say it was also around the time of vendemmia. Yes, it's kind of in September as well, because that's when mushrooms are apparently in season. And the whole tour is about foraging, and they give you baskets, and we just went out, and it's like they give you like a speech before, not to eat anything, not to, basically you pick all the mushrooms and then you bring them back and you put them on this table. So they kind of, taught us a bit about mushrooms, and it was super interesting how, you don't see them. And then suddenly when you're looking for them, it's like a whole nother world under all the leaves and all the stuff. It was just really interesting. I saw blue mushrooms. They use that for the indigo ink. Red mushrooms, all types, and you just put them all together. And at the end of the tour, so I think we were in the forest just wandering around, and we were, like I said, 30, 35 people just wandering around picking mushrooms. I don't know, I had fun, and the kids were there, and when we went back, they were cooking, not with the mushrooms, they were cooking a meal, so that was included. I think they had paella. I want to say they had music. They had some other things. There was someone there interviewing people on camera about their experience. And then the guys who are the experts, they basically had all the mushrooms everyone picked on a table. And you're not allowed to take mushrooms until they take all the harmful mushrooms that are not to be eaten and not to be mixed in with the ones that are okay. So it's kind of like they decide on what the wild edible mushrooms are. And again, not the ones that you get, woozy off of, but these were like mushrooms you could go home and cook. So at that time of the year, it's like wild mushroom season, and a lot of like the local organic markets or places, they sell mushrooms and you can buy all sorts, and they sell them in a mixed bag. So these guys apparently, we're out there picking so Mercado Sano can sell them. I didn't know this, but anyway, we were also offered to take, a bag, basically a paper bag, a little paper bag, like a lunch size paper bag, for everyone who paid for the tour home. I got a bag, but I was a little nervous about, and I guess it wouldn't be any different than buying them at Mercado Sano, right? But I was a little bit nervous about bringing them home and cooking them, because I was like, what if one woozy mushroom got in there somehow? So I never used mine. However, the experience overall was very fun. That's not something I've ever seen anywhere. I don't know about anyone else, but I have not seen that type of tour in all my travels. But I've never gone looking for it either. So I don't know. If you have, feel free to share and where you did it. But that's something I enjoy doing with my kiddo. Okay, so let's talk about the International Jazz Festival. That's happening in November, mid-November. And as I said earlier, I wanted to have this gentleman on to talk a little bit more, but he actually had an event tonight. They were doing an Aretha Franklin tribute. I'm here, I'm not there, but it's all good. But they have a lot of things like this. So his name is Antonio, that's all I know. But they've been doing this International Jazz Festival for a long time. And I believe Sybil has performed in it. I believe Danielle and some other people from our community are going to perform in it. If you don't know Danielle, she has performed at, I think it's called Europa in town, and they have like a place where people, can sing and whatever. I guess you kind of pick the songs that you want to sing, and they allow different people to go and perform. You know, I guess maybe they have to do like a little audition. But the point is this exists. They have performances all the time, live performances. There are a lot of bands that perform during the week. Like I was saying, Sybil performs on Tuesdays. There was another band called the Andersons. They used to perform at Bruno's, which is no longer open, but they are like MoMAs in town. And I know they perform in Querétaro also. I'm trying to think of, actually Lima's is no longer open, unfortunately. That was a really nice Peruvian restaurant, and they are no longer, I don't know what happened, but they're not open. They used to have like a Cuban band that would perform there, and people would go and salsa dance, and they would have like the teachers who teach salsa would go there, and everyone could salsa and dance together, and so it was a lot of fun. So yeah. And then as far as like larger concerts and things like that, there's the Angela Peralta Theater. They do a lot of tribute type music. Quite a few months ago, I was trying to buy tickets to a Nina Simone tribute, and I don't know why I thought I could just show up and pay at the door, and they were like sold out. I think I was all dressed and ready to go, and I was meeting Anne-Marie, and we got there, and well, she got there before me, and she's like, it's sold out. And I was like, oh. So one of the things I want to say is people are very much into art and festival and culture, so culture and music and things here. So it's always a good idea for like the things that are ticketed, if you want to go, like buy your ticket in advance, because the chances are they will sell out. I went to a Motown tribute quite a few years ago, and they sold out also. And this was in a large theater. So it was like, you know, a regular theater where you would, not regular, but a theater where you would see a play or a musical. That's the Angela Peralta. And honestly, I enjoyed mostly the music. The singing, for me, Motown, I was like, if you want to try to sing one of those songs, you better hit that note. But it was still nice, you know, still nice to see the love of music and how it affects people no matter where it comes from, but it's very international. And I think that that's the part that I was able to appreciate the most was, you know, people were really into the songs, and they were, you know, singing along and all that. And it was a big theater. And, you know, the energy was just beautiful. And, you know, especially when it's being appreciated, like, you know, Motown is clearly, you know, our background and what we probably grew up listening to, a lot of us. And to see people really loving it and being performed by either locals or other people from other countries here, it was just really a beautiful thing. And I enjoyed myself, and the music was on point, the vibe was on point. And there are a lot of things like this. Like I said, tonight is all about Aretha. And I was like, okay, now I don't know who's performing. I hope you get it right. Just like I said, if you're going to call yourself a soul food restaurant, you better put a foot in there, get some Lowry's and Old Bay. So anyway, about the festival in November, you know, there's a lot. I think, okay, so from what I understand, it starts on the 14th through the 20th, and it's the same format where there's more or less a pop-up, and, or I should say lots of pop-ups. There will be workshops as well. There will be a lot of performances around town. They don't have a schedule yet of exactly what, but closer to the date, they start sharing like what the different venues are that you can go to, because most of the jazz festival, it doesn't happen necessarily just in one place. It's that the jazz festival is all the different options that you'll have throughout town. And then they may have like 2 or 3 other options that are bigger venues. A lot of those performances, not every, but a lot of the performances will take place in places that may be outdoors and free. So again, it's just something to enjoy. And we're also offering a package for that as well. If you go to CasaELM under events, you can see what that is. And, you know, you'll see what it includes. Basically, the price or total includes transportation to the airport, welcome meal, light morning, you know, meal every day or breakfast, kind of like continental, hot springs, a vineyard tour, cannot miss the vineyard. And of course, the music events and things like that. We'll know better exactly which ones will target closer to the date. So you all are very quiet in the chat. I'm not sure what else, if anyone has questions or just has questions about San Miguel. We got about another 10 minutes, and feel free to send that in the chat. But I just really wanted to show some of the diversity, and this is just our area, right? This is not including Mexico City, Guanajuato City. You know, like I said, there's a Guanajuato Film Festival, which is huge. They even have a hot air balloon festival. So I'm just kind of like sharing with you why I believe a lot of people have fallen in love with being here. A lot of times when I think about how much is offered, it's not at all New York, but it has a nice wide diversity of the things you would find in a big city. And I really love that about this smaller town, because one, it's not as hard to get to. If you plan in advance, more than likely you get your ticket, you can get in the door. Just different things, basically, is that's basically what I'm saying is, you know, you can get to it. And the more you research, the more you can see, you know, like what would you add to an itinerary for yourself. We try to put very specific, you know, packages that get together around, you know, these events, not all, but some of them. And, you know, we've had like some pretty decent success. And we also see that people are enjoying, you know, those types of things. So we're trying to, you know, see, well, what is someone gravitating towards? I mean, mostly the relocation tours are the thing, but I wanted people that are just travelers to also know that there are a lot of options for you as a traveler. If you're not necessarily planning to relocate, or you're just curious and you want to see what there is to do, and you want to maybe make a research trip around something fun, you know, that's kind of what we're there for. And just a reminder to everyone, if you haven't hit subscribe, do so please. Hit the like button on this video. Just make it more worthwhile for me to stay here and drink vodka and my water. April has a question. Abril, hi. Is there a regional bus or does one get to a location without a car? Yes, there are so many buses. If you are talking about, okay, first of all, if you're in San Miguel and you want to get to, I'm not sure I understand fully. Sorry if I don't get regional bus part, but I'll give you both of what I think you're asking me. Locally, if you want to get around, yes, you can take a bus. I recommend a taxi. Uber's working central. Hi, Michelle Mabel. And if you are trying to get from, let's say, San Miguel to Lake Chapala, then yes, there are plenty of really amazing buses that you can get on. There's the ETN, there is Premier Plus. Those are the two that I normally ride when I went north. I went on the Chihuahua Nice bus line, had never heard of it. There's also Futura, which is maybe not as high end as ETN and Premier Plus. I'm trying to think, there's like Amarillo. What's the other bus line? Ado, I think. So the point of all of that is what I realized when I did my trip in December, for those who don't know, I took a very long bus ride with my child up north, and it was one of those eye-opening experiences for me where I was like, oh, I can go anywhere in Mexico on the bus, even to the United States. So they have a bus. So each area or region, I guess is probably the better question. There might be a more dominant bus line or a more well-known bus line that will connect you in another area or city to wherever it is you need to get to. So for example, I wanted to take the bus from San Miguel directly to, or not directly, but I wanted to get from San Miguel to Chihuahua City. And Chihuahua City didn't have like I had to switch the brand of the bus I was on. So I started with Chihuahua Nice or Futura. And then I had to, when I got to Chihuahua, then I had to take Chihuahua Nice bus, I believe. I don't remember, or I think I did both, but they had different names, but I think they've fallen sort of like, a sister company. And then from there, I went to my final destination, and then coming home was the same. I took some other bus I'd never heard of, never saw around here, from Los Mochis, which is in Sinaloa, to Mazatlan. And then from Mazatlan, I forget, I think I did a Primera Plus back to Querétaro, and then from Querétaro back to San Miguel. So to answer the question, now that I know that I can do this, I have like a list of places that I'm like, I would rather ride on the bus because it was super affordable, and it's worth taking the bus because it's just, I don't know, it's just more comfortable. Like you can chill, right? You don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to drive. I like to drive. I also like driving, but I don't want to drive for 17 hours. I don't mind driving maybe up to 6 hours, more or less, 3 to 6 hours to get somewhere if I'm staying there. If I'm doing a day trip, it has to be under 2 hours at me driving really fast. So the point simply is that you can, get to all these places in Mexico. Like I want to go to Chiapas. I have like a long list of places I want to visit. I want to go to Veracruz. And more than likely, if I didn't fly, that would be my first choice, more or less. But I also like being on the bus because I've noticed that every time I do a road trip or take a bus ride to somewhere, that the scenery is just fantastic. I mean, absolutely amazing. A few years ago, I was driving to San Luis Potosi. I mean, the scenery reminded me of Switzerland, and I'm not like Switzerland in the summertime, and it was just gorgeous. So I highly recommend it. And it's very, very affordable. I think in my December trip, all the bus rides I took was just like under $400 for 2. It was really affordable, and they were far places. Cheryl, is there a website for the monthly events, also information for the bus from the airport to Casa? Okay, first part of your question. There is, I mentioned that a little bit ago. Let me see. So you have a couple websites. There's San Miguel, visit sanmiguel.travel, right? I'll just copy this and drop it in the chat for you. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. I hope that came through. Okay. That's a good place to start. And there are other websites that are somewhat similar to that. And again, if you're not on Facebook, it's a great place to be to get information about traveling to San Miguel. Okay, so I just wanted to say that again, because I find it has like the most kind of up to date. And if it doesn't, if you don't find, now I recommend this. If you go to one of the expat pages, there's a way to type, once you get in the group, there's a way to, find a little magnifying glass and type in your question, or maybe 2 really important words from your question and do a search, because a lot of times someone may have already asked those questions and you just, you could get snarky people responding if it's something that, someone locally knows. And it's like these pages are to be helpful, but sometimes it doesn't always feel that way. So I always recommend doing a search first, and then, you feel free to post your questions. And some of them will require, a membership. You have to join their page. And then let's see. I thought there was another question. Okay. Oh, there was. Yes, we will help you set up. If you're coming to CasaELM, shoot us an email and we will send you the information. So there's the company that we use is a company most people use if you don't have a car. It's called Bahia Go, and they will literally bring you door to door from the airport directly to the door of wherever you're going in San Miguel, and they will drop you off. They pick up to my knowledge, they pick up from Querétaro, León, and Mexico City. I don't know if they pick up from other airports. León and Querétaro are an hour to an hour and 15 minutes away from San Miguel. Those are the airports you have to fly into, or into Mexico City to get to San Miguel. There's no airport in San Miguel. Just for those who, I know you didn't ask me this, Cheryl, but in case someone doesn't know, I've had people ask that in the past. And the two closest airports are going to be Querétaro, QRO, or León, which is BJX. Don't really understand the relation. And then Mexico City is MEX. That makes sense to me. Mexico City is going to be about a 4-hour ride, and you should ask them when you book for if you're okay with that. You can get a private shuttle or private ride or whatever. It's going to cost you more, but you can also tell them shared. Sometimes you'll just end up being the only one, but you'll pay the shared price. From the closest airports, I think it's around $30 US one way. And from Mexico City, it's like, I don't know. I don't remember. It used to be $130 one way. So factor that in. Like, for example, I tell people this in my consultations. If you need a consultation, I do relocation strategy sessions and also questions about planning a trip. You can find that also at CasaELM.com. And it says work with me, and you can book a session. But what I wanted to say is, if you're traveling, like, always check all those different airports, and also factor in, maybe you found an expensive flight to Mexico City, but how much does it cost you to get from Mexico City to here and back, right? So if your flight was, say, $500, and then you have to pay round trip on the shuttle, that's going to actually be, maybe $260 extra. And maybe you can get a ticket directly to Querétaro that's like $700, and then you save yourself time, maybe a little bit of time and money. So I always tell people to, like, check all the options, because when I first started coming here, I used to fly to Mexico City, because from Florida, Fort Lauderdale, or I didn't really go to Miami, but from Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach directly, it was like, back in the day, it was like $250 round trip, nonstop on JetBlue. And I was like, this is great. And then, the shuttle, I didn't think about it because I didn't know, because I didn't have a person to go to like myself, that there was an airport closer. I had never heard of Querétaro. I had never heard of León. The airports that I was used to flying into in the past, and all the travels that I did, were always the same. So I flew to Oaxaca, I went to Huatulco, went to Mexico City. Of course, I flew to Cancun, Playa area, but that was kind of it, if I remember correctly. I had not gone to other places. So I didn't know these other airports were so close to San Miguel. So I was flying into Mexico City, getting my good deal ticket, but then I still had to pay the shuttle and time, because, it's like you fly, you get there. I got there early in the morning, I think really early. The flight would leave Florida at 6 something and would get here within 2 hours or so. It was very close, 2-3 hours or so. And then I still had to shuttle ride. So it would take till about 1 in the afternoon, still not bad, to get into San Miguel. There was traffic a little bit longer, but now you know there's a closer airport, but just check the pricing out and the combinations, and it all depends on where you're coming from. Usually, Leon is going to service the West Coast area, and then Querétaro servicing, whatever. But if you're coming from like, Midwestern state in the US, maybe you're going to probably end up flying through Dallas or something like that. And then from Dallas, I think, and Houston, you can get directly to Querétaro, maybe Leon, don't know. So that's all I got for you tonight. Thanks for being here. Okay, great. Yeah, I like Querétaro. I like that airport. It's pretty close. I flew in to, where did I fly out from? Leon. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. It was Leon. But I like both airports. They're fairly manageable. They're small, not too crazy. They don't have like 10 flights arriving at the same time. You get your luggage, go through customs, and it's pretty easy in general. Yeah. Thank you, Dixie. Appreciate you. Anywho, thank you all for being here again. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. If you're watching this on the replay and you have questions, I will certainly check them. I try to check like a couple days out of the week. Please share with your friends, help me grow my channel some more. I enjoy, like I said earlier today and always, being here. If you want to know more about what CasaELM is, please go to our website, CasaELM.com, and just let me know if you have questions. You can contact us there as well. And come and visit us in San Miguel when time allows. We appreciate you. We appreciate the newcomers and visitors. We just want to say that. And if you are interested in signing up for anything, you can find details. One question, Michelle, let's see, from New York Transit, the 1 hour late. Okay. That's not bad. Just hopefully the connection, well, either way, if the same airlines, they'll make it good, but I think that's good. I like Mexico City. I think it's quite efficient as the airport goes. So yeah, safe travels. All right. I'm not sure exactly when you're coming, Michelle Mabel. My Takaya. I think that's what you call it for namesake when someone has your same name in Espanol. Buenas noches, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you, Jetta. I appreciate you all. Join us next Wednesday. So I want to say this really quick. For the month of June, which June starts tomorrow, we're going to do a focus on retreats, the retreats we have, and people who are coming with their own retreats. So I'm planning to interview those hosts, and that the space is available for that. So if you are a retreat host and you are interested in, booking CasaELM or, basically using the space, this is not open to the public. Again, it is my, private space, but we always are all about encouraging people for wellness and things like this. So please feel free to contact us. And my good friend's passing by. I'm like, do not knock the door. But anyway, so we like to encourage people, to take care of themselves, help wellness, just, making time for yourself. You're gonna see us talking to different hosts that are planning to be here and later on this year. And we would like to encourage them, and also for you all to check them out and see what might be interesting to you. Okay, so have a great night. All right, Michelle, my bell. Awesome. Reach out, and safe travels, June 16th. I'll be back on next week, so feel free. Looks like about your visit. Oh, yes, I'm excited too. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Yes, don't forget to like the video, please. I appreciate you. Ciao. Why not?